Hello and mabuhay! The 2022 national and local elections are coming up. And as we all prepare for its approach amidst a global pandemic, it is important that you, as an EB member, are aware of the various health and safety protocols that we are required to observe before, during, and after its conduct. So, let's start! What are the things that we need to prepare for the elections under the new normal? First, let's take a look at this map. This is what a typical voting center looks like. And here are the different stations inside it. First, we have the Voters Assistance Desk, or VAD. This is where the voters can seek assistance to find their voting details to avoid crowding and huddling around the posted computerized voters list. The Isolation Polling Place, or the IPP. This is the place where voters who are evaluated by the medical personnel to be suffering from a fever of 37.5 degrees Celsius or higher, or those who are exhibiting any COVID-19 symptoms may cast their votes. The Emergency Accessible Polling Places, or the EAPPs. These are rooms or makeshift polling places established as areas where the following persons with disabilities, or PWDs, senior citizens, and heavily pregnant women may choose to vote on election day. PWDs, or senior citizens who did not avail of APPs, PWDs who failed to update their registration record, persons who become disabled or incapacitated temporarily or permanently after the continuing registration of voters ended, and heavily pregnant voters who are 6 months on the family way. The Accessible Polling Place, or the APP, where persons with disability, senior citizens, and indigenous people may cast their votes. Holding Area, a room preferably located adjacent to the polling place where voters waiting for their turn to vote can sit and stay until it's their turn to vote inside the polling place. And lastly, we have the Polling Center, where EB members conduct the election proceeding and where voters cast their votes. Now that we know what a typical voting center looks like and the purposes of the different stations inside it, we now go to the health and safety protocols to be observed in setting up the polling place. Number 1. Arrange the chairs and tables to be used inside by the polling place in such a way that they are at least 1 meter away from each other. Number 2. Install a hand sanitation station beside or near the door of the ingress and egress of the polling place. Number 3. Post at the door of the polling place a clear and visible sign showing persons not properly wearing face mask and face shield shall not be allowed inside. Number 4. Post the PCVL near or at the door of the polling place with pages spread out to give free access to voters who are checking their names in the list. Number 5. Install a plastic barrier between the EB and voters. Number 6. In coordination with the DESO, designate a room, preferably adjacent to the polling place, to be used as a holding area where voters, waiting for their turn to vote, will stay. Number 7. Provide trash bags for easy disposal of all medical waste such as used face masks, face shields, or gloves. Now that you've learned how to properly set up the polling place, here are the health and safety measures you need to observe inside the voting center and the polling place before, during, and after the conduct of elections. Number 1. Wearing of face masks and face shields at all times while inside the voting center. Number 2. 1 meter physical distancing. Number 3. Regular disinfection of hands and other regularly touched surfaces. Number 4. Proper cough and sneezing protocols shall be observed at all times. The following individuals shall not be allowed to enter the voting center. Number 1. Persons who refuse to wear face mask and face shield. Number 2. Persons who refuse to have his or her temperature taken and evaluated. Number 3. Persons who refuse to strictly observe the health and safety protocols in place against COVID-19. Before they can be allowed to enter, every voter is required to undergo a body temperature check at the entrance of the voting center on Elections Day. If the voter registers a body temperature of 37.5 degrees Celsius or higher, he or she shall be instructed to rest for 5 minutes before taking his or her temperature again. If the temperature is still the same, the voter shall then be escorted to the IPP where they can cast their votes. The same process is also applicable to voters who are manifesting other COVID-19 symptoms. If the temperature of the voter is below 37.5 degrees Celsius, the voter can be allowed to enter the voting center and proceed to the voter's assistance desk to check their voting details. Lastly, here are the health protocols to be observed by the EB members and support staff while inside the polling place. Number 1. Before the start of the proceeding, disinfect or sanitize by spraying with alcohol or disinfecting solution the polling place work areas and fixtures, most especially the frequently handled objects such as doorknobs and handles, tables and chairs, marking pens and other supplies, and equipment that will be used during the voting in the polling place, except accountable and non-accountable forms and all other supplies and paraphernalia that are made of paper. Number 2. Sanitize own hands thoroughly and as frequently as possible. Number 3. Limit the number of persons inside the polling place to allow physical and social distancing of at least 1 meter from each other at a maximum of 10 voters at any given time. Depending on the area of the polling place, the seats reserved for senior citizens, PWDs, and HPW. Number 4. Use own pen. Number 5. Disinfect or sanitize marking pens, secrecy folders, tables, and chairs as well as other supplies used by voters before and after use. Number 6. Give ballot to voter without touching hand. Number 7. Instruct the voter to sign the EDCBL using the voter's own pen. Number 8. Apply indelible ink to the voter's right forefinger-nail or any other nail if there be no other forefinger-nail without physical contact. These protocols should be strictly observed throughout the election process. Remember, the Commission may modify these guidelines as the circumstances may warrant. Thank you and vote safe, Pilipinas!